Hello and welcome to the second part of our tutorial on the Yamaha Piaggero. On this second part we are going to be setting up and programming and saving into our banks and registrations. And then we're going to use the record function to record all of the styles and all the programming that we've done and record it into a song. So here we go. We're going to start with the bank button, which is the button right next to the grand piano button. So we're now reset. We're set on the grand piano. I'm going to choose bank 1, and then I'm going to go next to the bank and choose number 1. That's the registration. So let's not get confused here. When we choose the bank, we can choose from 1 through 8. There's 8 banks. And within each bank are 4 registration numbers. So we have bank 1, registration 1, bank 1, registration 2, bank 1, registration 3, bank 1, registration 4. And then you can go to bank 2, and again, bank 2, registration 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're choosing bank 1 and we're choosing registration 1. The registration 1 shows up and then it reverts back to the bank 1. Now since I've already got something stored there, I've already got something stored there, I'm going to overwrite it when I'm done editing it. So we got a grand piano. We're going to choose 002, the live warm grand piano, or live RWMG. 002 patch. Live warm piano. And we're going to layer that, which by default will come up as the strings. So I'm going to hold down my layer button and we're going to program our dual voice here, or layer. I'm going to change the strings. I'm going to type in 373. And it's called Itopia. So now I have just switched it from the strings to Itopia for the dual layer. So now we're going to edit that by going to our category button. We have 2 category buttons. I'm using the top one, pushing that, and the first thing I get is D volume, or dual voice volume. It's set at 38. I'm going to bring that up. So now I got it set at 90. I hit my category button again and it says dual octave. This gives me the choice of changing octaves now. And I'm not going to change octave. I'm going to leave it on 0. I'm going to leave the pan alone, and I'm going to dual voice reverb. I'm going to change that to 120. Okay, so our dual voice and our piano were all programmed. We need to save this. This is where we have to be careful. We know we're working on registration 1 on bank 1. So at this point, you don't want to hit any other buttons. You have to do it in this order to save, or you're going to lose all the edits we put in there. So I'm going to go to the bank button, I'm going to hold it down, and I'm going to press the 1. Now it says writing. So now, when I change banks, I'm going to go back to 1 where I saved it, and it should still be there. Okay. Now, along with 1, that we have our voice, but let's take a look at the style. I'm going to set a style of 071 swing 1. And I'm going to set the tempo to 100. I'm going to turn the tempo up now to 120. So okay, so now I've got my accompaniment, I've got my voice, so we're all set. Now, I've just added a new accompaniment to this one, so I have to save it again, because the only thing saved on here now is the voice. So since I added a new style, I'm going to, again, save it again. So I'm holding down my bank button, pressing 1, it says writing, and now it's written, and now as I change other banks, I end up back on 1, swing 1, 071. So we're all set up on 1. So I hit registration 1. If you're not sure what bank you're on, hit your bank first, and it'll say bank 1, and that's what we're working on. Bank 1, registration 1. So bank 1, hit number 1, registration 1. That's the bank we just saved. So now we want to save that to 2. So I'm holding down my bank button and pressing 2. Now it says it's writing. And now I press number 2 to make sure it says registration 2, bank 1. Okay, it's the same. So now I know I've got the same rhythm and the same tempo for the rhythm. So now I'm just going to change my instruments. So I go back to my voice, and I'm going to choose a electric piano. I think I'm going to choose the .009 Cool Galaxy. So my first voice is going to be the Cool Galaxy. And I'm not going to layer that with anything, so I'm going to just leave that alone. So it's going to be the full keyboard, single layer of the Cool Galaxy used with the Swing 1 accompaniment. So now I have to save number 2. We've been working, you got to remember which ones you're working on here, because as soon as you start editing and switching everything around, the screen doesn't show you what registration you're on. So you have to be quite a bit aware when you're editing. So I'm holding down my bank button and pressing 2 It's writing, and now it's done. So now, when I press registration 2, I got my electric piano. When I press 1, we have the dual voice that we programmed on 1. So I'm going back to 2, and now I'm going to hold down the bank button and press 3. So what I'm actually doing is copying 2 to 3. So now I press 3, make sure I got registration 3, and bank 1. Bank 1, registration 3. The display will say regist 3 and then revert back to the bank number if you press bank first. If you have your style on it, it's going to just go back to style. Now for 3, the first thing we're going to do is press style and go from the 071 swing 1 to 072 swing 2. And I'm going to check, and my tempo is now at 152, but what was my tempo before? So let's take a look. I'm going to press registration 2, tempo, it says 120. So when I go to registration 3 and go to swing style, it reverted back to swing 1 because I pushed those bank buttons, and since bank 3 was not saved, it reverted back to the last saved version, and that's a copy of number 2. So I got to, under my style, I'm going to switch back to what I had, swing 2. So now I got swing 2, but I'm going to set it to my 120 tempo that I've used in bank registration 1 and 2. So now I have a different rhythm and accompaniment for 3, but it's at the same, it's still a swing, and it's at the same tempo as 1 and 2. We need to keep the same tempo all the way through as we switch these. So now what I can do, I can save that by holding down the bank button, clicking 3. So now 3 is saved, but we still got the same sound as in 2. So I'm going to press my voice button, and now I'm going to change the sound. Let's go with a number 73, 073, sweet soprano sax. So there's my main voice, my right hand, and I'm going to split that. So I'm hitting my split, then I'm holding the split down so I can go into the edit. I don't want the bass, I want an orchestra in my left hand. So I'm picking Live Orchestra 055. Then I'm going to my category buttons to do further edits to this split. First thing I'm going to do is push the top button until I get split octave. I'm going to go up 1 octave. Now I'm going to go back down to split volume. I'm going to lower that volume. So I lowered my volume down to 70. And I'm going to scroll, now I got my split reverb. I'm going to add a reverb to my split. I'm putting that reverb send at 100. At this point, we've been working on 3, so I'm going to hold the bank button down, press 3, and write number 3. So now bank 1, registration 1 is grand piano with the layered sound. Number 2 is a full keyboard of electric piano. Number 3 is the sax with a the left split with an orchestra. So now we got one more bank to go, and I'm going to hold down I'm going to press 3 to make sure I got registration 3, bank 1. And I'm going to hold down the bank button and hit number 4. So we're basically copying registration 3 to 4. I hit 4, it says registration 4 and bank 1. So I'm going to change the voice to, let's see, what do we want to do? We're going to put a big band in there, 095, big band. And let's do a split on this one too. So we're going to hit the split, hold the button down until we get the split voice, and then bass. So let's see what that sounds like with the accompaniment on. And we're not going to do the bass. The accompaniment already got a bass. So let's do I'm going to do a choir. And we're going to further edit our split by going to the octave and I'm going to go up 1 octave. And what else do we want to do? We want to add some reverb to our choir. Add as much reverb as you want. And we're going to save that now by holding down the bank button and hitting 4, because we've been working on 4. So now, the split is way up here. So we want to lower that split. So we're going to go back to the edit. First we're going to make sure we're on registration 4, bank 1. Hold down the split. And we're going to have to go to the category buttons and keep pushing it until we find the split parameter. Still playing, still looking. Oh, nope. There it is. Split PNT, or split point 064. That's the default. So we're going to use the data dial, the little dial. And now our split, and you can watch the splits on the little keyboard on your display. Now my split's down on middle C, and anything below middle C is choir. Anything above middle C is brass. Makes a nice sound together, don't they? Now we made changes again. Now we already saved 4, but we got to save it again because we just did a new split point. So I'm holding down the bank button and hitting number 4. Now we've just custom edited and put together bank 1 with all 4 registrations. So now we got our split choir brass in 4. We got our split orchestra sax in 3. Number 2 is a full keyboard of electric piano, and number 1 is a full keyboard of grand piano and with our layer of that synth tone. So we have a synth tone back there. Now we're all programmed, and when we hit style, we're going to have style 1, swing 1 and 2. Swing 1 is going to be on registration 1 and 2, and on 3 and 4 it's going to be swing 2. So now as we switch between these as we perform, we will get a new rhythm for these other 2. So let's set this up. I'm going to hit my bank, it says 1. I'm going to hit my registration, 1. And I'm going to set up my auto accompaniment now. So I'm going to start with my intro, then I'm going to hit my sync start so I get my flashing arrows. Now when I hit my first chord, this is all going to start. And I'm going to use the intro fill button as I switch between the bank registrations. So here we go. And there you have it, playing through all the banks using the fill and movement to the rhythm A and B, going back and forth, to add lots of change and fun to the playing. So it's not a straightforward, boring thing. We got lots of instruments going, we got lots of rhythms changing, and this is what really gives this Piaggero all this power, is to be able to do that all on the fly and all in rhythm. So the last thing we're going to do now is we're going to take that and we're going to record it. So let's take a quick look at the recorder we have our voice, we have our style, and then we have a song button. Let's hit the song button and you'll see that the LED changes to song. When it's in song mode like this, it's more of a player piano. So as we scroll through with our dial here, we find out there's 30 settings in here of pre-made songs. So here's 8. I'm going to press start stop. That's a song, that's a demo song. There's 30 demo songs that comes with the piano. But as you scroll up past 30, you get to 31 and it says user. So I have a user 1 there. So when I push this, I already got something I recorded in there. So user 1 is full. Now I could go to user 2, and that has something. User 3, that's empty. I could record on that. But what I'm going to do is go back to 1, I'm going to erase it, and then we're going to write this new one over the top. So the way to erase it is, you're in song mode, you got the little LED next to the song here, it says user 1. I come over to this recording, so we have record, we have right, left, and then on the buttons you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the end is A, and underneath it says clear. So if you see the clear and there's a line, it goes over to the right. So if I hold down A and hold down right and wait for the display, it says clear track A. It says yes. Now I come over to my keypad, and remember we have our little yes no's at the bottom of the keypad. I press yes, and now it's asking me, am I sure, because I'm going to erase this song. I press yes again. It says it's writing. And now when I press start stop, there's still something on there. I'm going to try this again here. I think the problem is it was already playing. In the song mode, holding down the clear A button and pressing. Okay, now we don't want a track, we want clear user 1. So yes, sure, yes, writing. Now it's empty. So user 1's empty, we can record on it. But I need to set this up. So we're going to get out of song by pressing style to bring us back down to the style. So you can see these two LEDs. It's very important how these are red. So we're back down to style, which is the active performance part of this. And we're going to set this up like we did before to begin. I'm pressing bank 1, registration 1. I'm going to come over here and press my intro button, so we're ready to go. But instead of the start sync, we're not going to push that this time. We're going to push the record button. And now we get a record with the flashing arrows at the bottom. Now when I hit my first chord, it's going to start just like it normally would for the accompaniment with the intro, but it's also going to start the recorder. So here we go. We're going to try and record all the changes we do in the banks, all the changes we do over here. We're going to record everything. Here we go. Fill. The display saying writing, and now we're done. You don't have to hit stop when you're using the intro and exit. When you use the exit, it knows to stop. If you're not using the intro and exit, you're going to have to hit the start stop button. So here we go. It's all saved. I should be able to hit my start stop and have my recording. And I'm sure it's all there. I'm not going to play the whole thing back. So there we have it. You have storage. We have how to play all the banks, or all the registration in the banks. So now these on bank 1 and registration 1, 2, 3, 4 are now all programmed and saved. So when you hit your bank button and you use the little wheel, you can now go to bank 2, and now you have the opportunity to save 4 more registrations. And we have 8 total banks. So that gives you an opportunity to save quite a few setups in here. And like I said, you can plug the USB of this into your computer and download these bank settings and save hundreds or thousands of them for recall later. And that's the Piaggero. There's more to it. There's you can record by tracks if you want. It's a multi-track recorder, And there's a few other items in here, but we're not going to go into that today. I think we've done a lot with this part 1 and 2, and you can work with this for the next year and have a lot of fun. So that's it for today on the Piaggero. Thank you very much.